we are going to solve by factoring. Y'all remember it has to equal 0. Push the 18 over to the other side. So we're going to have x squared plus 7x minus 18 equals 0. And guys, remember the a value is 1, piece of cake. When the a value is 1, you do not need to show a lot of work. You just need to draw your parentheses. Split up your x's, so put an x in each one of those. And then think about negative 18. What are numbers that multiply to make a negative 18, but you can combine them to make it 7? 9 and 2. Great job. Which one of those is going to be negative? Good. So Friday we would have stopped there, but now we're solving. So once you get here, and guys, if you can do this without showing work, I want you to be able to do it. I'm going to go ahead and write this down. Subtract 9 from both sides. Add 2 to both sides. And again, if you can go straight to what I wrote in the green, you're right on track. I want you to do that. I don't want you to show a bunch of this purple stuff. Do you have any 2? What is the b value? It's a 4. What's the c value? Negative 6 is correct. And here I go. I'm going to ask you a bunch of parabola questions. Was this graph, if I graph it, will it open up or down? That's right. How do you know that? How do we know it opens up?
Because the a is positive.
Awesome. One more thing. You should know the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? Negative 6. Remember, the y-intercept is always a c value good. All right, those were just side questions. We are going to solve by factoring. Speaking of factoring, what can I factor out of 2, 4, and 6? Yeah, let's factor out the GCF. Let's factor out that 2. So 2x squared divided by 2. Guys, we're just going to cut all this stuff in half. And then look what is left over. Is this factorable? X squared plus 2x minus 3? It is. X is, or a value is 1, so just split up your x's there. So 1 times 3 makes a 3. What kind of signs do we need to make it a negative 3 when we multiply it, but a positive 2 when we add it? Okay, which one's negative? 1. So the 3. There we go. Good job. Okay, so technically for the math on this, you're supposed to set each factor equal to 0 and solve. We have 3 factors here. The 2's a factor. So there I go. I set each of them equal to 0 and to solve. But y'all, when you factor out a regular number, that's a silly sentence. When you factor out a whatever kind of number, when you're solving it, just goes away. So that 2's going away when we solve it. So we still only have 2 answers. Our answers are going to be a negative 3 and a positive 1. Can I factor a 3 out of all that stuff? We got our work cut out for us. So you have an a value that's greater than 1, and you have to know all these steps. So here we go. We are going to draw the little graphic over here, the x. So remember, when your a value is not 1, you multiply it by the c. So a 3 times a negative 7 is negative 21. That goes down here. And then your b value still goes at the top. So the b value is just going to be a negative 20. Okay, numbers that multiply to make a negative 21 but combine to make a negative 20. And which one of those is negative? Yeah. All right. So remember from here, you recopy the first term, you recopy the last term, you never copy the middle term ever. What do you write instead? The sideways numbers, that's right. So we're going to write minus 21x and then plus 1x. And guys, it doesn't matter. I could have put plus 1x first. You'd still get the same answer. The order doesn't matter for the sideways numbers. Okay. Now we're just going to turn it into a GCF problem. This first group, remember, you're always going to take an x out. But what else can you take out? That's right. So please, right under here, please write 3x. What's going to be left over? X minus, yes. And then, y'all, look at that other group. It's already x minus 7. But you have to factor out something. What do you factor out when it already matches? Yeah. Write plus 1 next to this. And then go ahead and write what was already matching, x minus 7. So we have two factors here. We have 3x plus 1. And then we have x minus 7. And guys, don't forget, we are solving, so we're going to set each of those equal to 0 and solve. So 3x plus 1 equals 0. Move the 1 over. It's going to turn into negative. And then we would divide both sides by 3. We're going to get a fraction. Y'all leave it as a fraction. Don't make that a decimal. So x is going to equal a negative 1/3. And then y'all should be able to just see what this is. What would make that 0?